This year is shaping up to be the best tomato year I have ever had. Now, while I can thank the weather and some new soil in new raised beds, I can also thank the fact that I tried some new varieties in my garden this year that have worked out fantastically. Last year about this time, I shared with you 5 of my favorite paste tomatoes that I have used for canning for many years. And many of you all, in response to that video, shared varieties that you thought I should try. So I thought, why not? So far, I have to say, I've been really impressed. Today, I'm gonna share with you the new varieties that I've tried and why I like them so much, along with one I've tried that hasn't lived up to expectations. Hopefully, by sharing these varieties with you, you can get some inspiration on new kinds you might want to try in your garden next year. One variety that has been a standby variety for me in the past has been Amish Paste. But the problems I started noticing with Amish Paste stem from the fact that they weren't very disease resistant and they did not produce in the heat. So I was looking for a variety that could replace Amish Paste and that it would be more disease resistant and it would produce better in our Arkansas summers. And I believe I have found it. So this is the Hungarian Heart. I actually started to grow this as a new first-time gardener. It didn't do great, but I realized now it was not in the greatest of soil. But I have been so impressed with this one. This is full of flesh. It's a perfect paste tomato, whether I use it for sauce or I use it for salsa. This has been a fabulous variety that I know I'm going to grow in the future. So far, I have not missed my Amish Paste at all. The second standby in my garden is the wildly popular San Marzano. I've really enjoyed the San Marzano in my garden. I love to be able to grow it and also process it. But the problem that I was finding with the San Marzano is it had a lot of blossom end rot. When other varieties were a little bit more resistant to it, San Marzano was the most susceptible. So I started looking for an option that wouldn't be as susceptible to blossom end rot. One of the ones that I found was called Pomodoro Squisito. If I'm saying that right, it's actually right behind me here. And I've been so impressed so far. It's actually a San Marzano hybrid. I bought the seeds from Territorial Seed Company, and the description said that it was resistant or more resistant to blossom end rot. I wanted to try it in my garden. I have not been disappointed. I don't think there's been a single one that's had blossom end rot. Like the San Marzano, it's a perfect size, it's a perfect fleshy paste tomato, and although I don't think I'm going to give up my San Marzano quite yet, I will definitely be growing this more to see if it continues outperforming the standby San Marzano. My third standby that I've been growing for 10 years now has been the trusty Roma. And I still like the Roma, it's definitely dependable, but I've actually found one I like a little bit more, and that is the Paisano. This is the second or third year that I've grown the Paisano, and the reason why I like it is because, like a Roma, it is a determinate variety that only grows to a certain height, so you don't have to worry about indeterminate tomato and trellising it too much or anything like that. But what I like about it is that look at the difference in the size. The Paisano is consistently larger, but even more than that, it's very firm. And when I say it's firm, the benefit of that is that it doesn't crush during harvesting. It actually holds a little bit longer. So if I can't get to my canning load that day or the day after, it holds a little bit more before it actually has any issues. And again, I haven't seen any issues with blossom end rot, whereas Romas are also pretty susceptible to blossom end rot. So while I may not replace my trusty Romas completely, I may start phasing more and more Paisanos in. I got these seeds from Johnny's Seeds. One variety that many of you suggested that I should try in last year's video is the variety Opalka. Several of you said that this was a good variety for heat-loving areas, and so far I have been really impressed. So this is one of the many Opalka that I have harvested from the 2 plants that I tried this year. I like the size. Obviously, it's very large, just like every paste tomato. It's very fleshy inside, so it's going to be making really thick paste. And so far, it has been an amazing producer. So thank those of you guys who shared this variety with me. I'm definitely going to be expanding it in my garden next year. Another variety that was suggested to me is a very well-reputed variety called Federle. And so far, I've not been super impressed. I have noticed a few of them that have been green. This one just fell off the plant. The plants look really good, so maybe as I'm recording this, we're in the middle of July, maybe it's just a little bit more of a late producer. I'm not sure, but Federally is supposed to be a really good one. If you've had experience with Federally, I'd love to hear more about your experience, but so far I haven't found it to be a super productive variety. Like I said, maybe I'll learn more as the season progresses. So far, I've been so impressed with the Hungarian Heart, the Pomodoro Squisito, the Opalka, and the Paisano that I've used before. And just as an update, the Pink Fang that I tried last year from Baker Creek, it is still producing very well. I'm loving that. I'm really glad I saved seeds from that last year. I'll save seeds again from that this year. And that's the thing when I'm deciding what I'm gonna grow. Some of these that have been great producers, like the Pomodoro Squisito and the Paisano, they are hybrid. So I'm not gonna be able to save seed from those. But the Hungarian Heart is an heirloom variety, and I'm pretty sure the Opalka is as well. So anytime I can get an heirloom variety that performs well in my heat and is great with productivity, I definitely want to grow those. And another thing, all of the new ones, both the hybrids and the heirlooms, none of them have had issues with blossom and rot, whereas the San Marzanos have. So even though we've had more rain this year than last year, I'm hopeful that this will be something that will help. Blossom and rot tends to be a little bit more common with paste tomatoes than other tomatoes, so that's definitely an issue that I'm constantly having to fight. What about you? Have you tried any paste tomato varieties that I haven't mentioned in this video or last year's video? I'm always up to trying new varieties. I would love to hear what you have to say. Put them in the comments below, and maybe if I can find the seeds, I can try them again next year. And if you haven't watched last year's video on my 5 paste tomatoes that I was growing last year, you can check that out here.